Good evening, traders. This is CloudChartist with your weekly Ichimoku wrap for the week ending August 28th. This is Sunday night, August 30th. Welcome to my video. So looking at CL to start off, you see that CL put in a very bullish candle last week with a much larger range than we've been seeing in quite some time. We put in a bottom on this current candle at 37.75 and then continue to trade much higher and close the week at 45.33. I made a little joke in my chat room that I could call the close, and I called 45.35, so I was 2 cents off, and somebody owes me a couple of beers, I heard. Anyway, if we do head higher, we can look for potential resistance at the Tenkan-sen above at 48.72 on the weekly time frame. We also see that we have the Chikou over here, this red line representing price 26 weeks into the past. We see that if we do move higher, we can expect the Chikou to come into the bottom of this candle here, which is at 48.71, so just around the exact same level as the Tenkan-sen here. We also see that this 48 level was significant, as we previously found support and then found resistance at 48. Also, we could take a peek at this. Well, at the current level, you see that where we are right now is where we found support back in the beginning of the year. Almost exactly like this. The weekly candle ending in the 19th. Put in a low of 45.21, so that's pretty close to where we are right now. And then we retested that area again after catching a little bounce. We retested it. So basically what I'm getting at is we do have prior support in this area, which could act as resistance right here. Overall, the bias on the weekly time frame for crude is bearish. We are under the cloud, under the Tenkan-sen, under the Kijun-sen. So we do have a new uptrend caused by this very bullish outside candle putting in a lower low and a higher high. Not too many buyers, not too many sellers, very small topping tail at the top of this candle. Let's move on to BES. Apparently BK, one or two beers is the Australian way of saying as many beers as you can drink. And that's about one or two for me. So looking at the ES weekly, we see that we put an incredible bounce in off the lows coming in at 18.31. We bounce back into neutral price territory. So we bounce back into the cloud. In fact, the whole weekly candle body is inside the cloud, which any time price action is inside the cloud, it's neutral. You see that the Chikou came down and tested deeply into the cloud here. Not the bottom of the cloud, that would have been a bit lower, that would have been down. Oh wait, pardon me, let me get in the right place. That would have, I guess, well, no, it was the bottom of the cloud, and this, where last week's candle was at around 18.17, so we didn't go that low. But we did put in a bounce, and you can see the Chikou changed direction, and it didn't really need, it basically found support at the Kijun-sen, this pink line here, but it didn't put in a close touching it. So it never got under it, is what I'm getting at on this time frame. So where we are currently at is, let me zoom in a little bit to show you exactly where this candle's at in relation to the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. The Tenkan-sen is at 1978.63, Kijun-sen's at 1982.50, and so they're both currently inside this. Did I say bullish? If I said bullish right now, I mean to say neutral. It's a pretty bullish candle, but the overall bias for this chart is neutral since we're inside the cloud. And the cloud represents equilibrium, and anything that's inside the cloud is neutral. So we see though that the price closed above the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, so that's a bullish bias inside the neutral cloud. Okay, someone in the chat, BK, was asking me a question. So where are we going to go from here? If we do go higher, we can find resistance at the top of the cloud, which is at around 2004, 2005 area. It's important that we don't get back under the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. It's likely because of this extremely bullish momentum that the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, when they reopen for the new week, will go flat. That would be my, or at least their momentum would be more sideways than straight down, which was caused by this prior candle. So that's about it. Neutral bias on the week for the ES, and important levels are 1978, 1982, and 2005. If we do get above 2005, well, the sky's the limit. New highs, no. We do have some other important levels to get over. We have this prior close here, or sorry, this prior open here of 2037. And then above that we have 2054 area, and then above that we have 2075 area, which was, and we can, that, and of course the mighty 2100 that everybody sells. So that's it for ES. Let's look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ looking similar to the ES, very bullish hammer type candle, traded below the cloud, came all the way through, put in the whole candle body above the cloud. That's a pretty bullish reversal. That's a very bullish reversal type candle. Put in a close above the Tenkan-sen at 42.97.13. We closed at 43.24.25, so significantly above the Tenkan-sen. So if we look over here to the left at the Chikou, we see that the Chikou is in between the Tenkan-sen and the candles. So the Chikou could have some issues around 44.05, 4400 when it comes into this candle here. It needs to get basically over 44.48 in order to have no resistance to the upside. So we're still in a downtrend on this time frame for NASDAQ, but rather than being a neutral bias like the ES, the NASDAQ is back to bullish. In fact, fully bullish. The only thing that's not that bullish is the Chikou being under the candles. But we do have a rising cloud ahead, although it goes flat until we begin up in October, so we could get some sideways action and then move higher as long as we continue to hold the cloud. For this crash scenario that bears want to think is going to happen, we would need to go back and lose the 39.44 level once again and put in a close under it. Let's look at the YM, the Dow futures. In contrast to the ES and the NASDAQ, the Dow is still bearish in all ways. Although the Chikou has support and is back over the cloud, so that's one bullish divergence, I would say. But overall, we did put in a fantastic potential trend reversal hammer type candle, where we closed near the highs of the candle, and we closed exactly or just slightly under the Tenkan-sen. Tenkan-sen is at 16,680, and the high was 16,684. So we did get bought slightly into the Tenkan-sen level and then just closed slightly under. So that should act as resistance, the 16,680 level, and then above that 16,810 is resistance at the Kijun-sen, and then above that, or wherever those open on the new candle, above that we have resistance around 1710 at the cloud. Then we will have neutral price action all the way through the cloud until we get over the cloud, which happens to be this prior support area here, and that's at the, let's see exactly, at the 17,310 area. I want to say. Yes, 17,310. So once we get over 17,310, if we get over 17,310 on the YM, that would be back in bullish territory. But for the time being, we are bearish overall with slight bullish divergence of the Chikou being back over the cloud. Alrighty, let's move to the Russell. The Russell put in a very bullish candle with a lot more green candle body than the other candles, but it failed to close above the cloud. In fact, it closed exactly at the cloud here. So the fact that the Chikou bounced off the cloud is bullish, but we're going to need to get, if we want to continue moving higher and get back into bullish territory instead of neutral territory, because technically being inside the cloud we are in neutral territory still. So if we want to go higher, we can see the Tenkan-sen at 1172, 1173 needs to be taken out, and the Kijun-sen at 1181.90. So if we get over 1182, we'll be back in full bull territory for current price, but we can watch out for the Chikou having resistance at various levels above that, specifically the Tenkan-sen up here at 1192, and then the candles above. So the candle for next week is here at around 1220-ish, 1218. Let's look at some metals. Let's look at gold. Gold on the weekly time frame put in some nice tweezer tops and sold off below the Kijun-sen, but managed to hold above the Tenkan-sen. So I'm looking for the overall bearish bias on the weekly time frame for gold, but potential for sideways action since we did manage to hold the Tenkan-sen here. If we do get back under 1130, I would expect more downside, perhaps to retest this prior support level around 1092. Under 1092, I would be looking for new lows for gold, but it's significant that it did hold the Tenkan-sen at around 1130. So if we do get some buyers, keep an eye on that 1150-220 area for potential resistance, and then at the 1160 area for more resistance. Let's look at silver. Silver put in a new low, which a lot of people, I bet, were not expecting and not happy about. Although it finally lost that 14 level. But we did get some buyers off the lows, but we did not close at the prior support, above the prior support level, or above, say, 1465. We closed below that. So if we do move higher, we're going to run into the Tenkan-sen at 1497. So around the $15 level will be resistance again, unless we can get back over 15. I would expect sideways to lower. This chart is fully bearish in Ichimoku terms. We can scroll out and get a better perspective of how bearish it is. Bearish. Okay, let's look at some treasuries. Treasury complex. Let's look at ZB. And there's going to be some contract change mayhem involved in this chart, but I'm going to take it for what it is, what I'm looking at right in front of me, and find that. So we got a bearish reversal, although you could call it a bearish engulfing type candle, as it put in a higher high and a lower low. But the candle itself did not engulf the prior candle, so that's significant. We did lose the support of the Kijun-sen at 157, but we did find support at the Tenkan-sen at 154.21. Overall bias on the 30-year Treasury bonds is bullish. So we're over the cloud, and we closed over the Tenkan-sen, but under the Kijun-sen. So we can expect some sideways action unless we can get back over 157, or if we break below the Tenkan-sen here at 154.21. We do have support of the Chikou down here at the Tenkan-sen at around 153. Is that right? I'm sorry, it's a little bit higher than that. 153, let's say 153.12, 153.14. Let's look at the 10-year. Pardon me for that loud noise. 10-year, very interesting. Put in a new high and then reversed and sold back into the cloud, so 10-year is neutral rather than bullish at the moment, and found support at the Kijun-sen, where it has found support for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. After breaking above the Kijun-sen, after the Kijun-sen went lower. We currently have the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen confluent right at the exact level of the close here, right at 127.085, thereabouts, 127.075. So look for that. You know, it's important to see whether we hold this level or go below it. If we do go below it, we have support at the bottom of the cloud around 126.29 area, and we have resistance at the top of the cloud at 127.295. Please do make note, by the way, I'm using the continuous contract for all of these weekly futures charts for the benefit of having more data. You want to look at the weekly chart and lower time frame charts of whatever the current contract that you're trading is for in precise levels. Let's look at some grains. Looking at corn, we see that we put in another close underneath the cloud after testing into the cloud, so corn is bearish. We do have resistance for the Chicow down here at around 368, and support, sorry, and resistance at the cloud above this next week is going to be around 377. We do have a flat Kijun-sen above that could attract price, and we do have the Chicow over here stuck between the Kijun-sen and the candles. Yeah, soybeans. So this chart is overall bearish under the cloud, under the Tenkan-sen, under the Kijun-sen, but we do have potential reversal type candle. Very small body and very a hammer type candle, closing somewhat near the highs. We do have a gap to fill between the prior week and this week on soybeans, so it's possible that we will get a reversal higher for soybeans. We need confirmation of that with a higher high and a higher low. If we do go higher, we can look for this potential gap fill area, which is on a body, open body basis is at, let's see, 916.25 would be the gap fill level here. And then above that, we can look at this 924 horizontal level, this 938 horizontal level, and then 950 above is where the Tenkan-sen is currently at. Then even that, higher than that, we also have, you know, the cloud, which will act as resistance once we ever go higher for soybeans. Let's go wheat. Wheat is looking bearish in all ways. We did put in a outside candle because we put in a higher high and a lower low after the previous candle, but we are still in we're still in a downtrend. The trend has not changed on a candlestick basis on wheat weekly, and we're still under everything. We do have a flat Kijun-sen and Tenkan-sen above that could attract price higher eventually, but it hasn't yet. And we do have also the potential for support at this prior close of around 470.73, thereabouts, 470.75. Let's look at bean oil on the weekly. Put in a vigorous bounce on bean oil on the weekly time frame, but nice hammer candle off the prior lows. We also sort of bounced off oversold. We didn't quite get oversold, but we got pretty close on the RSI. So if we do move higher, we have this gap to fill up here, which is at 29.39, and then above that we have resistance at the Tenkan Sen at 29.96. And this is coffee. Coffee is bull flagging, bearish in all ways. Just happened to put in a hammer type candle, so if we do go higher, we can see resistance at 130.32. And let's look at the dollar. So the dollar has been in sort of a triangle type pattern. Looked like it was a downside break of the triangle here, and then put in a very vigorous bounce, closing above the Tenkan Sen, but slightly below the Kijun Sen. We do have rising cloud support here, so as long as the dollar continues sideways, it will have support starting at around 94.30 thereabouts. That won't be for maybe 2 weeks. So next week's candle has cloud support down at around 93. And then if we do trade lower, and then we try to bounce back up, we will have resistance at 95.47. At the moment, that's where the Tenkan Sen is, and wherever it may open up. I think I'm going to wrap it up for this weekly video. If you have any requests, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. And if you're interested in learning more about Ichimoku charts and how to use them trading futures or stocks or Forex, I do have a current special, $99. You can, if you're watching this video, you can click on the link on Ticker TV for that promotion, and that's to join my chat room and get access to a lot of very experienced traders trading crude oil and ES bonds intraday, with sharing levels and sharing various time frames of Ichimoku charts and various other methods. So anyway, thank you for watching, and have a great week, and be careful, and good luck trading.